The Mahoney County Board of Elections will hold a special regular meeting of the members of the board on Monday, August 28th, 2023 at 3:11 p.m. in the boardroom of the Mahoney County Board of Elections office, 345 Oak Hill Avenue, Youngstown, Ohio. I now call this meeting to order. Would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Here.
Attorney Petros?
Here.
Ms. Arch?
Here.
Ms. Calpesta?
Here.
Would the vice chair now lead us in a pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a moment of silence for our nation, please. Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 16th, 2023 special regular board meeting.
So moved.
There is a motion made by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Petros?
Yes.
Ms. Arch?
Yes.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
We are now going on to the chairman's report. The board will certify the official canvass of the August 8th, 2023 special election.
So we're going to pass down the final totals, which includes all the later routing, absentees, provisionals, everything's been added in. For the final number, for the board to certify to the Secretary of State's office.
The chair will now entertain a motion to certify the special results.
So moved.
There is a motion made by member Joyce Calpesta. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there any questions or comments? I have one. That's a really good turnout.
It really was.
And kudos to you guys. You got to do it all over again. But I mean, that was a lot of work and it was a big turnout. And I just want to once again thank the staff for all their diligent work on this.
Thank you. The staff did do a lot of work on this.
And did you move Joyce because of me?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Well, I think we're contentious together.
I just tell me what to do all the time, which is
Oh.
normal for me. All right, is there any more discussion? Would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Petros?
Yes.
Ms. Arch?
Yes.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
We have to now identify any mandatory necessary recount races, resolve any tie races as directed by the Ohio Revised Code, and set a recount date if needed. Is there?
No, there's not.
All right, thank you very much. We will now move to a candidate residency hearing. So, are these people that are doing this present?
We believe so, yes.
Okay, so just a little bit of an FYI. Not only does this board have an administrative function, it has a quasi-judicial function. The quasi-judicial function is to arbitrate, at least at this level, any problems with petitions or anything else. So I think sua sponte, which in Latin means on our own, we found two addresses for a certain candidate, and so we directed the staff to find out about it, to notify the candidate. And so we will, now I will ask the director what the investigation found.
Sure, we were in a receipt from a letter from the Campbell Police Department, an officer, about candidate for the second ward of Youngstown, William Perry Pfeiffer. I think he's here.
I'm
Is
present.
William Perry Pfeiffer here?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
And within that, we had an address that was listed in Campbell at Gladstone Avenue. We filed at 2109 Hubbard Road in Youngstown. So we were in receipt of a document saying he did not live there. We have found that we have sent mail to the Hubbard Road and has been returned to us as undeliverable. Is that, really,
Did we send anyone out to that address to look?
No, we didn't, because we were gonna have our hearing today.
Wouldn't that have been a good piece of
Well,
information
we
for us?
decided like Thursday, we had it only on Friday, and
but we're also informed that if, that the onus is on Million Perry Pfeiffer to come in and present his case.
Well, we'll hear from him now. Go ahead, sir.
May I approach?
Yes, I'd like to.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How
I'm
you
going to
doing?
swear you in.
Okay.
So come on forward.
Good morning, ladies and
Good
gentlemen.
morning. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This you answer as you swear to God or under the pains of perjury in the state of Ohio.
Yes.
Okay?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to respectfully address the situation, okay? I have been receiving mail from the Board of Elections. I have been getting every single correspondence. That is why I have spoken and followed up with people that works here in the department. I don't know what mail that was sent out, but I have legal documentation here for the board. You guys can take copies of it, you can have it. I have an affidavit of residency, I have my lease, and I also have some court papers that I got from Mahoney County Court of Common Pleas that was delivered to my address.
Can we see those?
Yes, you can.
Through the chair, can I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Can you tell me how long you've lived at that address?
Roughly, I started taking care of my aunt that passed away, so I moved in with her October. She passed away on me in November. And I've been there since.
So November of last year.
It's 2021.
Oh, November 2021.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Correct.
How did that address in the Camo Police Report wind up there?
Thank you for asking. I have ran into some situations with Cameron Police Department, so I'm opening a class action lawsuit. I had a meeting with the mayor and a couple other officials there. That's how that this situation came about to even come to the Board of Elections. Now, if that would have never came about, you guys probably would never asked me about it. But with those saying forward, ever since literally 3 days after that meeting, this was brought to the Board of Elections. But that address that's on there was my aunt's address. My other aunt that had passed away in March recently of this year, that's where she was staying. The reason why I put that address because the other two people that are part of this complaint, that's where they reside.
Okay.
So that's why I put that address.
What is your intention about where you decide to leave? What is your intention?
Say it one more time.
What is the intentionality? You know, intentionality?
Correct.
What is your intention as to where you live or where you intend to reside?
Well, I even resided here when I was helping take care of my aunt in Campbell. I was still on Hubbard Road, and I'm gonna remain on Hubbard Road. I have always been an East Side resident. I was born and raised there. Family's from there, so I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? How would the board like to handle this, please?
Bob, do you want to see these?
This complaint you gave us isn't dated, so it's not much help. It does show your address, but it's not it doesn't have a file stamp.
If I have to get some more recent
No,
documentation.
I'm just saying this isn't helpful for the
Okay.
board.
Another thing as well, that complaint that was filed against Camel was delivered to my 2109 Hubbard address, certified mail. So they should know that it's on the court docket as well.
Can you answer a question for me, please?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
have many nonprofits listed in your name, but it's listed at the Camel address. Why would that be?
Because all my business mail and my business address goes to Camel. I don't live there. I will keep that separate. I don't want all my business, personal stuff, all my business stuff coming to my address. They send books and booklets and magazines and everything. That stuff goes there as well.
Does anyone reside at the Camel address now?
Correct. Yeah,
Oh, you have residents there?
my family. They
Oh,
still
your
live there.
family still lives there?
Yes, ma'am. My aunt passed away and her kids moved
Oh,
in.
her kids moved.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
And now we're having issues with Camel, so that's the only reason why this address is on there.
So you
just-
live at 2109 Hubbard Road. Do you have a utility bill to show us?
Water, gas, electric,
Did you bring one with you?
I did not, I brought my lease and a notarized document.
Okay.
Yes, he did have his lease there.
I saw that.
And he has his notarized document. I would inform the board that the Supreme Court has ruled on this, and it's where you intend to reside. People are allowed to have all the residences they want. They can only have one for voting purposes, and that's where they intend to reside. That's what the law is. I've heard enough. If anyone wants to provide a motion, the chair will entertain it.
Well, I make a motion, we allow Mr. Pfeiffer to be placed on the ballot for November.
There's a motion made by member Joyce Kilpessa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Sandra Barker. Is there any discussion? I just want to say I've heard enough. Certainly, my business address is different from my home address. And just because you're using a residency for your business address doesn't mean anything. I think he has satisfied the proof of where he lives. And I think that we should approve his petition. As I've said before, and I'll say it again, the more people that participate in our government, the better our body politic is. And so, is there any other questions or comments?
Thank you for coming down. and
Thank you.
giving me-
I dressed just for you.
All right,
Very smart.
May I?
yes, let the director call the roll, please.
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Ms. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Del Testa?
Yes.
All right. The next item on the agenda is reconsideration hearing, a total of 4 hearings. So we will take the very first one, which is in my packet, and it's David Tomeno. Mr. Tomeno, is he present?
Yes.
Would you like to stand up?
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give this board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This as you answer unto God or under the pains of perjury in the state of Ohio.
I do.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. My name is David Allen Tomeno. I've served my community for 40-plus years. I've been a teacher, coach, a union president for over 30 years, and a trustee for Milton Township for 12 years. Last 2 terms I ran unopposed. As a Board of Election members, I know that you're entrusted with ensuring a fair and transparent election. I really respect you for your roles in upholding these values. I am here to ask you to reconsider your decision to disqualify one of my petitions circulated by Lisa Balsinger because of a minor clerical error. The number of signatures was not placed in the blank. Clearly, the petition was full, holding 20 signatures, and the circulator statement was signed and validated by her. I brought her with me. I would like to use her as a witness.
It's your show. You're
Maybe she
doing
has to be
it.
sworn in also?
Yes.
Okay, Lisa?
Wait, well, we could swear them both in, and then if we have questions, we can ask both of them. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This as you answer unto your God or under the pains of the laws of perjury in the state of Ohio.
I did.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay. I just have a couple questions for you, Lisa. Did you collect a full petition of signatures of people that you believe were qualified to sign the petition?
I did.
And did you witness every petitioner's signature as they were signing the petition?
I did witness them.
Okay, and I also have a statement attached in the packet of Lisa's admission to that.
I see
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like to present?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Next in the packet, Lisa and my wife went back to the people who signed the petition and got a statement, a signature, a date, which read, as a Milton Township resident and registered voter in Mahoning County, I am confirming that I did in fact sign the petition for candidate David Allen Tomeno, and I understand due to a clerical error, this petition was disqualified. I'm asking the Board of Elections to reconsider this petition on behalf of David Allen Tomeno and approve his filing to run as Milton Township trustee. I do not want to have my right to choose who I feel is the best candidate to represent me in the Milton Township to be decided by a small clerical error. I truly believe that I that I have complied with the requirement of ORC 3501.38. The spirit of the law is to ensure that there is no fraud in the election process. I feel that my evidence clearly shows that no fraud was committed on my petition. I am requesting the Board of Elections to waive the minor mistake, a clerical error, and reinstate me as a candidate for Milton Township trustee. As of last night, I did get an additional, through the research that myself and my son have been doing, I did get an additional item I would like to place in the packet. Only made one copy because it's 19 pages. It is an Ohio Supreme Court ruling, Ferraro versus the Trumbull County Board of Elections. And
May I see it?
yes, I do have some. It's dated September 14th, 2021. It's the latest one that I could find on rulings that, such as mine. Okay, in that, the Supreme Court said they ruled that they provided no basis for the rejection of an entire or part petition based on a minor mistake in indicating the number of signatures it contains. The Trumbull County Board of Elections erred in rejecting Ferraro's entire petition. Also, later on in that document, I believe it's on page 4, undercounts and overcounts by the Secretary of State, sometimes by the court, is befooting. There is absolutely no support in the statute for drawing such a distinction. 3501.38E/1 truly required an entire part petition be invalidated as a result of an incorrect indication. It would make no difference whether the mistake is indicating too many or too few signatures. Also later on in that document, the court found that also the circulator can show the following. The number of signatures fixed to the page, if it's of the page, is of less consequence when you attest and witness every signature. And that is the best to your knowledge. Every signatory was qualified to sign and who the person was perpetrated to be in ORC 3501.38E/1. You meet the requirements by attesting that you had witnessed the affixing of every signature, and that the best of your knowledge and belief, all signers were qualified to sign every signature was the signature of the person it purports to be. Okay, in contrast, the statute contains no oath requirement for the number of signatures. Again, the statute contains no oath requirements for the number of signatures. The circulator is simply told to indicate the number of signatures. Had a couple other cases too, but in
Anything you
closing,
want to present to us, we will look at.
okay. Closing, hopefully, the evidence that I have presented is enough for you to reconsider my petition. If not, I hope that God lays it upon your heart to do so. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Through the chair, can I ask a question?
Great. You
That,
remember?
the case you're referring to, that they had the signatures transfixed, it was the wrong number, they didn't come up with the correct number. It did not allow for no numbers. Also, can I ask the circulator, did you read the circulating statement?
I read it and signed it. The statement does not, it's just me attesting to the signatures to the best of my knowledge.
Well, it actually says that you must, it says that I am a circulator for one petition containing blank number of signatures that I witnessed to the fixing of every signature. So it does call for a number.
And they're all, each one is individually numbered.
Yes, they are on the petition, but that
It was a
number.
full petition with 20 signatures.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Correct.
Does anyone else have any other questions? I move that we go into executive session to deliberate on this petition. We are allowed to do that. Is there a
Mr. Chair,
motion?
can I make
Go
a
ahead.
suggestion? We have two
I'd
others.
like to do them individually if
Oh, we
possible.
have two others with the same issue, maybe we should go
The
into.
same exact issue?
The same
It's the same
exact issue.
Okay, well then let's hear, thank you for correcting me, Miss.
No problem.
I didn't know they were the same exact issue. So,
Can I make
go
a
ahead,
statement?
Ray, go ahead.
In the revised code, the 3501.38, it says a circulator shall indicate the number of signatures contained on it. So if there was less than the 20, you put 18, that's for you to certify for 18, so that somebody else doesn't take this petition and get 2 more signatures. There's a reason for the number. It's blank. There's nothing there.
I understand. And that.
And I understand what you're telling us too,
Yes.
but the number of signatures witnessed should be put there.
Yes, I know it should, and it was a clerical mistake. Minor clerical mistake.
Does anyone else have any other questions for this reconsideration? Hearing none, we will move on to the next. Robert Andrea, are you present? Would you come forward, please, sir?
My name's Jim Becker. I'm here on behalf of Robert Andrea. He's getting cancer treatment today.
All right, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to say to the board?
Well, I happen to be the mayor of Craig Beach, and we had 2 people running for 2 unopposed seats. Both of them got rejected. So we're in kind of a pickle. And he did the same thing, didn't put the, would you like to look at it?
No,
The number?
We have copies, right?
And I've tried to get volunteers to take these jobs, and it's hard to do.
Is there anything else you'd like to?
No, I think he knows the situation.
Is there, so your name again was, sir?
Jim Becker. I happen to be the mayor there.
Can I ask you a couple questions, Mr. Becker? Did you witness any of these signatures?
No.
And,
Well, yeah, my signature's on there, so yeah, there's a couple of them.
I mean, you recognize your signature, but my point is you didn't witness any of these signatures.
I didn't witness all of them, probably 3 or 4 of them I did.
Okay. I have no further questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
No, I have no question.
Oh, anyone else, Joyce? Can we move on to the next one?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. We will now move to Michael Barrett, Michelle Barrett. Michelle, how are you?
Good, thank
Would you
you.
like to come forward? Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This as you answer unto your God or the pains of penalties by the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you.
What would you like to say?
I have some, I'm going to hand out some information. 4 packets.
We were provided this, weren't we?
Yeah.
I have some
This is
additional
additional,
information.
okay.
There's some additional, some is repeated, some is additional. So first, thank you very much for the opportunity to appeal to you regarding the omission of the number of signatures collected on my petitions. I'm quite nervous, so I'm going to read this. I apologize for that in advance.
That's okay.
I did sign each petition declaring that I witnessed the affixing of every signature. In my appeal letter, I included a paragraph similar to the circulator statement where I declare the number of signatures on each petition. These numbers match the receipt that I received at the Board of Election, which I also included there. The omitted numbers would have been filled in after the signatures were collected, so it would not affect the validity of any of the signatures. And in the packet, I also have copies of excerpts from Directive 2022-17 from the Secretary of State. On the first page, the underlined area at the bottom regarding candidate petitions states that when there is an error or omission on a petition form, the Board of Elections must determine whether the prospective candidate substantially complied with the form of the petition. And I maintain that even though I omitted that number, I believe that I substantially complied with the form of the petition. On page 2, the back of that, the Secretary of State weighs in on signature undercounting, and the underlined portion states that no board may invalidate a part petition solely because a circulator statement includes a number that is lower than the number of signatures it actually contains, so long as there is no indication of fraud or material misrepresentation. And there is no indication of fraud or material misrepresentation Below that is an excerpt regarding overcounting. There is an exception to rejecting the petition, and that is if there is no indication of fraud or material misrepresentation, which I believe I fall into that category. And I propose that if a petition cannot be invalidated by a number printed that is lower or higher than the actual number, then no number should also not invalidate it. It was an omission on my part. I was very excited. There's no excuse for it. But it was my first time filling out the petition, running for office. I was appointed this April, and I still can't believe I turned it in without the numbers. But mistakes do happen, and I think on my petition, there, as far as verifying the signatures, the Secretary of State also says that there should be a code in the left margin indicating the reason why the signature is invalid, and that is not on there either. Just that people, everybody makes mistakes and omissions, so I was not the only one. And in case after case, the Ohio Supreme Court has ruled in favor of the potential candidates. In Ferrara versus the Trumbull County Board of Elections, in Curtis versus the Summit County Board of Elections, and in Schwartz versus the Hamilton County Board of Elections, the court ordered a candidate to be placed on the ballot after the Board of Elections rejected one of the petitions because it contained one more signature than had been indicated. The court deemed the Board of Elections' decision to reject the petition too technical, unreasonable, or arbitrary. Even if one argues that rejecting my petition follows the letter of the law, I question and propose that it is not true to the spirit of the law. When weighing your decision as to whether or not to certify me as a candidate, I implore you to decide in the favor of the voters. That is, make the decision that allows them to use the democratic process to elect their fiscal officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Hearing none, the chair will now recognize a motion to go into executive session so we can deliberate. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion made by member Joyce Kilpesta. Is there a second? Seconded by Baum Arndt. Is there any discussions? I just want to tell the public and the press, the reason why we go into executive sessions is our deliberative process
Meet with counsel.
is not subject to open meetings. We are acting as a quasi-judicial board, just like a jury. You can't go in and watch how a jury deliberates. So that's what I wanted to say. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Well, I would like to say we're going to meet with counsel during this, while we're into executive session.
Thank you. We will also have our counsel here, which is another reason that when we're getting legal advice, that is an exception to the open meetings law. Is there anything else? Sandra? Mr. Arndt? Member Joyce Kilpesta?
No, sir.
Okay. So there was a motion, there was a second. We've had discussions and some comments. Would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Kilpesta?
Yes.
Therefore, we will go into executive session. Thank you. The chair will now entertain a motion to come out of our deliberative process. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion made by member Joyce Kilpesta and seconded by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Here.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Kilpesta?
Yes.
Okay. The chair will now entertain a motion for the three candidates that asked us to reconsider.
Well, citing 3508.31E, I think we do not have any discretion where there is no number printed in. I think that we allow the candidates who have filed those protests to be put on the ballot.
There's a motion made by Joyce Kilpesta to grant the petition for reconsideration. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Arndt. Is there any discussion? I have a few words to say. I have read this Supreme Court decision. And basically, the Supreme Court said, if you put 0 down there, we cannot disqualify for them for that. So having no number or putting 0, to me, that's sort of the same thing. I think that it is important to the body politic that as many people that can get involved in government, that makes our area that we all call home better, not worse. And that's just my personal philosophy, and I'm just expressing it. But I am going to vote to grant the reconsideration and put them on the ballot. I think the one gentleman, Mr. Tomeno, did an outstanding job. And you went, I mean, you really drove, you put belt and suspenders on there, I can tell you. But I think based on the latest Supreme Court decisions, that is not a fatal flaw, and therefore, I think we should approve the reconsideration. Anyone else have comments or questions? Hearing none. This is so a yes vote would grant the petition for reconsideration, a no vote would keep them off. Would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
No.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
The motion passes, the 3 candidates are back on. We now have a fourth, where's that fourth?
Joe Duramo.
Oh, we now have a fourth one from Jill Duramo. Is Ms. Duramo here?
Yes.
Could you come forward?
Sure.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Are you providing any testimony?
Yes.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? This you do as you answer to your God or under the pains of perjury enacted by the Ohio legislature.
I do.
What would you like to say to us? So we could set the table. I'll read the email that Ms. Duramo sent us. Dear Ms. Wasco and Mr. McCabe, thank you for the time to speak to me yesterday about my nominating petition forms. In regards to my petition for the Canfield School Board, I respectfully request to appeal the board's decision to exclude me on the November ballot. I understand that on the top of my petition was dated July 27th, and the first voter signature was on July 22nd. As you can see, I typed in the information on the form, printed the form, and signed the form prior to obtaining signatures. There's no way I would have been able to print the form after getting the signatures. I simply typed the wrong declaration date. I have attached a picture of the document, properties from my computer. It shows I downloaded the documents to my computer on July 10th. My last modification was on July 22nd. As you can see, my signature started on July 22nd. I also attached a screenshot showing the open document. It shows the document's names matched to assure you this is the document I use. Please let me know if there's anything else I could provide, that I'm being truthful. Jill Duramo, is there anything else you wish to present to us?
No, basically, I wanted to make sure that you have the information in front of you. I thank you for the opportunity to be here today to present my case. I feel, that if you look at my signatures, I personally collected all of these signatures. I made sure I looked at every single voter before they signed it to make sure that they were a registered voter. So I personally know that those are all valid signatures. I just had a typo, and, to me, it was a simple clerical error on that, and I would like to be reconsidered. This is obviously a new process for me, and I really want to be able to do exactly what you're saying. We need more people involved, and I've had my calling to come to this position, and I want to be able to serve my community. So I would really like for you to reconsider my petitions and all of that.
Thank you. Is there
Can I
anything
see a
else?
copy of that, please? Because I know it's here somewhere, but as you can see, we're
That's the
overtaken
doc-
with.
That's the properties, you go into the properties of the document, and you can see the last date that it was modified. What happened was I went in on that date and printed it out and started collecting my signatures, but obviously had a typo on the date. But I had that top part filled out prior to collecting my signatures.
Anybody else want to see this?
I'm
That doesn't count.
familiar with what you
Okay.
said.
Okay. Thank you.
And I guess, that kind of the message that we're a lot of people are saying today, these, I understand the job that you have and I appreciate it. I, would not ever want to have to do your job, but, these are simple clerical issues. The main part is I've got 40 community members that really want me on the school board, so, I want to not be able to let them down, and I want to hopefully be able to get on the ballot.
Thank you. Is there anything else you wish to present?
Nope, I would just say one last thing though, that I am a 20-year veteran teacher, so I think it's really important for my community that I am on the school board because I do have the experience that will benefit my community.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
No?
Does the board feel the need to go into deliberative process?
No.
To go into deliberative process fails for a motion. The chair will now recognize a motion on Ms. DeRamo, is it?
DeRamo.
DeRamo's petition for reconsideration. Is there a motion? There is a motion made by member Bob Arndt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Sandra Barger. Is there any questions or comments? I have something to say. First of all, thank you for getting involved. If anything I wish the vindicator would write about, it's that the more people involved, the better our community. I firmly believe that. The more choices voters have, the better our community comes. And we're all living in this same quilted tent, whether we like it or not. So the more choices, in my opinion, the better. And so I'm going to personally vote. It's clear to me it was a typo. You got it offline. I get it. Go ahead,
Are we
Tom.
clear that what the motion is?
The motion's to approve her reconsideration. And it was seconded by Stanford. Is there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, would the director call the roll? Now, a yes vote would be we're granting her reconsideration and we will place her on the ballot. A no vote means we are not granting her reconsideration and will not put her on the ballot. Is there would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes,
Mr. Arndt?
Yes.
Ms. Del Pesto?
Yes.
you are back on the ballot.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now, I know there are a number of other people in here, and we are going to allow you to speak at the public comment section. There are some things we have no discretion over, and those are called fatal flaws. Fatal flaws are, there is such a flaw in the petition that we are prohibited by law from putting those on the ballot. It's nothing I enjoy doing, it's nothing I wanted to do, but we all took an oath to uphold the laws of Ohio, the Constitution of Ohio, and the Constitution of the United States. And since we took that oath, even though we don't like doing that, we have to follow the law because it's an oath we all took before we took that position. And in the public comment section, if any of you who did not get a reconsideration because of a fatal flaw would like to speak, that would be the time. Now we're going to have a discussion on the petition filing process. Over the weekend, as I was reading some of these articles, and it kind of went viral, like they had a lot in Trumbull County, they had some in Summit and in Stark. I was thinking, so when people come to get a nominating petition, first of all, they don't have to pick up a nominating petition from us. They can print it off a line, which is what Ms. DeRamo did, and that's what caused her typographical error. But if people come and pick it up here, we give them a booklet on how to do it. My suggestion is that we take that booklet and make a video that we can put online, and if someone wants it and they bring in a thumb drive, we'll thumb drive it and we'll go over step by step as to where people make mistakes. So this way, we are providing everything in our power to ensure that you can be involved in our democracy. And I would like either the director or the assistant director to do that, circulate it for us, and then we can vote on it officially. But people are visual. I only know this by being a trial lawyer. You can look at something written down 20 times, but you visualize it, it completely hits you differently. So I think a video would really assist where we don't have to, reject so many fatal flaws in a petition. So would someone make that motion that we do that video.
I have a statement first. I don't think that falls within our preview. I mean, I don't, or purview. I don't think that we as a board have a right to make those kind of decisions or make that kind of a USB drive or whatever. The Secretary of State already has a candidate's guide forum on their website. We link to that. But I don't know if we are allowed to actually create a petition verification or a video of that kind.
All my suggestion is take that candidate guide and put it in video form. There's no difference from what I'm saying. And the only reason I'm saying that is a video is visual. People think in picture words and they think visually. And it's very easy to read something and overlook it. So we aren't doing anything that we don't already provide. We already provide them a candidate's guide. All I'm simply saying is, here's the candidate's guide, please pay attention to this, and this.
So you're not telling them how to fill out a petition?
No, my suggestion would be to simply go over the candidate's guide on how to fill out a petition. If you read that, it tells you how to do it, okay? And I think we could tell them, here are the common mistakes we find. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if you feel there is, then don't make the motion. But until someone says we can't do that, I don't think we're violating any law by telling people, we don't want to invalidate your petitions. Here's what you need to do to make sure your petitions are good. Please sign them, please date them, please make sure the signatures, are after the date you have your petitions. I mean,
And we're doing that now, just in a different medium.
yeah, we are doing the exact same thing, only in a different medium. I agree with that. I'm not suggesting, Joyce, that we do anything different than what's in the candidate handbook, only we could show them, here's a petition, here's where this goes, here's where that goes. I'm not saying we move out of the four corners of that candidate guide, is my suggestion. If the board doesn't agree with me, then no one make the motion and it'll fail for lack of motion.
May I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I think that's the job of the Secretary of State's office to make that video, and not our board particularly. They're the
Well,
ones that-
here's my slight pushback on that. This is my community. This is where I pitched my tent. This is where I reared my family. And if I could do something to help make the community better, I'm gonna do it. Now, we could differ on that, but I think that, we had a problem. This is the largest amount of petitions we've ever invalidated in my 10 years on the board at one time. And so obviously, people want to get involved and they're stubbing their toe. The bar is kind of low, but they're still tripping over the bar. If we could help people not trip over the bar, I think it makes for a better area. I might be wrong, I might be pontificating, those are my thoughts. Anyone else? The chair will entertain a motion for the director, and it's nothing we're not gonna run by everyone, including our lawyers, the Secretary of State, and everyone else. I mean, we'll make sure it has the vetting process that's okay. The chair will now entertain a motion. Hearing no motion, my idea for the video presentation fails for lack of a motion. We will now go on to the director's report.
I have none at this time. Melissa?
We will now move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business?
No, there's not.
Okay. We will now move on to new business. We need a motion for the director and the assistant director to hire the necessary staff for help for the November 7th, 2023 general election.
So moved.
There is a motion made by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Member Bob Hart. Is there any discussion? I just simply want to make sure you have all the necessary people in when we're hiring, that you run things by them, however it is, and that we do some vetting of anyone we hire, because we're sending people out, but people are polling places, so, we should do a little bit of vetting of my hope. Okay?
And we do the best of
You
our
could
ability.
simply Google their name. If anything pops up out of the ordinary, that's fine. Other than that, that's all I'm saying. I mean, there is some inherent legality on us that we are responsible for people we hire. And I don't want to stand in front of a court and someone asks, well, what did you do to check this person out? And our answer is 0. That's never a good look in front of a court. So that's my only point with that. All right, so there's been a motion and there's a second. Is there any more discussion or comment? Hearing none, would the director call the roll?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Okay, now we're gonna move to approve the schedule of classes and instruction for precinct committee officials for the November 7th, 2023 general election. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion made by member Joyce Calpesta. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Sandra Barger. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Ms. Barger?
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice?
Yes.
Mr. Orange?
Yes.
Ms. Calpesta?
Yes.
Okay, now we're gonna move to good of the order and public comments. If you wish to make a public comment, we ask that you come up, you identify your name and residency. You have 3 minutes to talk. It's generally not a back and forth. It's for you to make whatever public comments you wanna make, because this is much yours as it is the board's. So is there anyone for the good of the order or public comments? All right, we're gonna start closest to us. Come on.
Lori Applegarth, and I'm the fiscal officer at Springfield Township. First of all, when I got the message of what happened, I looked back and I'm trying to figure out, you know, how I managed to do that. The only piece of help we get in our packet is this, the candidate for requirement. I flipped through every single part. What I didn't do was sign the back portion as a circulator. I thought that was only if I had somebody else circulating it for me. So I misunderstood that, but as I look back, every single part that speaks about the circulator, I clicked on every one of the ORCs. There's not one place in this entire pack, anywhere online, that tells us as the candidate, we have to sign the circulator statement. It's nowhere, so we have no assistance with that. I've only ran one time before. Danielle was able to guide us before, so we came in. This time she said, I'm not allowed to help at all. So we had no guidance. It's like going to the title office and not having any help with your title, or going to the IRS and not having any help. Like, I'm not a politician, I'm just the fiscal officer there. And I don't have like a group of people helping me, it's just myself. So I went and I did some research and I called Licking County in Newark, and they have this nice packet that they give you. They give you the piece that we get, but they also give you policy on petition and policy on election petitions. But when you first go in, they give you a form that states exactly what they want you to do, and they go over it with you, and they leave that with you. And I have everything here for you if you wanted to look at it or print it off. But this policy that they give us, or give you, it says right in there 3 times that literally says, even if that person is the candidate, they sign the circulator statement. And then the next section, they're talking about circulators again. The candidate, in bold, the candidate must complete and sign the circulator statement if he or she is a circulator. Then when you go in with your, to turn your petition in, they have a checklist. On that checklist, again, in bold, if you're the circulator, this must be filled out. So there's no question. They walk you right through it. It's almost like here, we're criminals trying to get one over on everyone. I didn't do anything illegal. All my signatures are good. I do a good job at my job. Now, I'm not gonna have my job because I misunderstood this, had no guidance here from Mahoney County. In this book that they give us, unless somebody can show me, I couldn't find it anywhere. I called a couple other counties. Richland County, I talked to the director, Matt. He said when they come in, they pull the petition, they go over everything they have you sign it, stating that they went over it with you. Make a copy, I get a copy, you get a copy. They try and just give you as many tools as you can to do it properly, because a lot of people coming in there aren't they for the townships, especially, they aren't politicians, have a full-time job, I'm not a politician, period. So then he said, when they come back in with your thing, same thing, they have a checklist for you. They go over the checklist, they make sure you do this, 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 and this. They're not taking it, and even in their policy book for licking, this says we are not responsible for it. They're not taking it and saying they're holding responsibility for your thing, but there's gotta be some guidance for us somewhere. It's kind of just like throwing us to the wolves, like, I understand it's a pretty simple form, if, you know,
That's been 3 minutes.
okay,
Thank
so
you
that's
very
what I
much.
have, thank you.
All right. Just to comment on that, I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, and I want to do something, but I'm 1 of 4.
And that, is that a fatal flaw then for not filling out?
Yes,
Where does
a
it say that
signature.
also?
It's just the law. It's just the law.
Well, it should say somewhere in the law, right, like that it is, that they could show us to prove that, I mean, it just seems like we have no help.
I understand that. Is there someone else wanted to talk? Come on forward.
Good afternoon.
What's
My
your
name is
station?
Scott Showalter,
And where are you from?
and I am from Smith Township,
Okay, go
right
right
here in Mahoney County. I have been a trustee for the last 8 years, and my situation kind of flows, I think, with all of these. And I appreciate, Mr. Beatrice, your comment with regards to the body politic and people wanting to serve. I've served for 8 years, I enjoy it, and that's what I'm here to do. I think that I've looked through the workbook, the petition, and to go in with her a little bit, there is nothing defining anywhere where the candidate and the circulator are one and the same person. And going through this and these signatures on here, and looking through the book and everything, like I said, there's nothing in it that says that. But one of the things that I would basically contest is the fact that in the handbook, it says that prior to verifying the validity of individual signatures contained on a part petition, the Board of Elections must verify the validity of that part petition. I'd like to go back to the article that was in the Vindicator last week where Mr. McCabe, you had also stated that all of these are fatal flaws. So if they're all fatal flaws, what makes these 4 any less fatal than my flaw? And in the book as well, it says check each part petition to determine whether the circular statement on the last page of the part petition has been properly completed. Once again, is the candidate the circulator? My fault was thinking that the person who takes this out for me and gets signatures is the circulator, not me as the candidate, as I've already completed the whole front section of the petition. However, the last paragraph says, the circular statement on the last page of the part petition has been completed properly. The entire part petition is invalid if the circulator's statement is not completed as required by law. So if theirs isn't completed and can be accepted, why can mine not be completed and not be accepted? And that's why I would like to ask for the reconsideration of my petition to serve my community as I have done for the last 8 years.
Is there anything else?
There is not.
Thank you. All right, is there someone else? Come on up front here. If it's too much trouble, you can stay there.
Okay.
She pushed me.
You don't have to stand up if you don't want to. You're fine.
My name is Patrick Bundy. Was running for the school board in the city of Strother. Got notified that I was disqualified from the ballot. The one problem I had was when I brought the petitions in, I brought twice as many names as it was required. I was there when everybody signed, so I knew most of those people I know for years, okay? When I came in, the girl at the desk, I pointed to her, I said, listen, I'm fairly new at this, did I do everything right? She looked over, she says, you have to sign here. You should have signed here. I said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. So I signed both sheets. When I got done doing that, she took the petition, she goes, well, for future reference, you're supposed to have this done before you come in. I said, well, I'm sorry, I'm fairly new at this. But I known all this, I would have had my wife push me around the corner and I would have signed it and came back. So, as I was listening to other people, I mean, these are just, they just seem like they're such small things.
There's no guidance from the exact entity.
He has the floor.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to
Well,
say?
just for the record, I'm running on the school board, there's two total, myself and another board member are running. So in essence, we're running uncontested, or we were. And now, I mean, it's just gonna start a whole quagmire for the Board of Elections. There's nobody running as a write-in, so they're gonna have to appoint somebody in January to fill my position. And again, I came up, your girl said, you have to sign here, and I did. And then I was notified after that, you know, that should have been done before I came in.
Is there anything else? No. Thank you very much. Does anyone else have a public comment? Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Well,
What
what we try to get away from is, it's not a question and answer. It's for you to make a comment, and if one of the board members after you comment wants to make a comment, they also have a right to make a public comment, so go ahead.
Okay, I've been doing this for 12 years. I've been, handing in petitions. When did it change? I'm wondering when it changed, because I used to be able to hand it in, and they would kind of look over my petition and say, hey, you don't have this or you don't have that. The last election, that happened with me. I just wondered when that changed.
Change from the Secretary of State sent us a directive
What was that, like last year, the year before?
3 years ago.
Oh, 3, okay, then that would have been on.
So
the-
somebody that ran 4 years ago and got assistance, but,
That's
and you can see
have
with the
to-
number
Hold on a
of.
second. This is not a free-for-all, we're gonna do this orderly. You have made a public comment. I appreciate, we've given you that time, and you did eat up your 3 minutes. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
No, I just wondered when it changed.
Okay. Is there someone else? Yes, would you come forward, please?
Hi, my name is Dee Smith, and I ran for the Youngstown City School Board. It was my first time doing so, and so I did not complete the circulator section at the very end of the petition form. And I didn't know. I didn't know that I was supposed to do that. I figured that since I had completed everything else, that was clear. So I would like for my petitions to be reconsidered.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for coming. Let me make some comments about what I heard. It pains me not to push you on the ballot, personally. It's not what I wanted to do. I have an obligation to follow the laws, even ones I disagree with. If the director or assistant director can help me, there was a new directive issued
2022.
in 2023 that prohibits us from pre-checking petitions. Now, I want to make this in comment. The reason the Secretary of State did it, this gentleman over here is the exact reason. She said, sign it, and it was the wrong thing for her to say to him, right? He signed it, and it disqualified his petitions. This is why our Secretary of State, Frank LaRose, said in a directive that we are mandated to follow, that we cannot do petition pre-checks, okay? And sir, I appreciate everything you're saying, but next time you make a public comment, my legal advice is don't say, oh yeah, I commit fraud and go around the corner. That's never a good thing to do publicly. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. And so we can no longer do that. Now, hopefully, I will lobby my other members now that Licking County has done something, and I will lobby them again to allow us to do some kind of a video, and so this doesn't happen. But to all of you, I'm sorry. If I had it within my power to grant your requests, I would. But I took an oath, every board member up here took an oath, and when you take an oath, even if you disagree with something, you have to follow what your oath requires you to do. And not signing the circulator petition is well-established, fatal flaw, Supreme Court law. Now, someone said, what's the difference between that and the people didn't put the number in? Well, what changed was the Supreme Court overturned a decision they made in 2018. If any of you feel that we are wrong, you certainly can go to the courts on a writ of mandamus and ask the court to order us to put you on the ballot for what was considered a flaw, a fatal flaw. And maybe the Supreme Court will change it, maybe they won't, but you certainly have that right. I just want you to know that. The courts are always there to body check an executive function. This is an executive function, or separate and apart from, it's an executive and quasi-judicial quasi-legislative function. And they're there to body check us if we didn't do something right. It won't be the first time the court's told me I've messed up, and it probably wouldn't be the last. So you always have that remedy available to you. Would any other members like to say anything?
I would like to address the lady who went to other counties. We can't help what other counties do. We follow the directive of the Secretary of State and the law. And the law tells us we can't advise or we cannot help people fill in their petitions. That's what the law says. So we are just following the law. What other counties do, that's on them. But what we do here, we follow the law. We don't make the laws, we just follow them.
Okay, can I respond?
No,
I just had a question.
in the past, we had back and forth. I don't want us to devolve into that. Public comments are for you to make public comments, as well as the board members to make public comments. If you wish to discuss something with one of the board members, when the meeting's over, grab them and ask them a question. But we cannot let this process devolve. We're gonna keep order. We're gonna give everyone their constitutional right to speak, both from the public and the board standpoint. But the back and forth can devolve really badly. And as long as I'm the chairman, we're gonna keep order and not let that happen, okay? Does any other board member have a public comment? Does the director or assistant director have a public comment?
I just want to say talk about what Joyce just said. I had a conversation myself with a person in another county. And I told them that we weren't helping. We weren't allowed because of the directive. And they looked at me like I was out of my mind. They said, well, we go through the whole thing. So it's all well and good that you're going after other information from a county, but it does you no good here because we obey the laws. We obey the directives that we're given.
Yes, Melissa.
I just want to say, and I don't want to open up a can of worms, when you pick up your petition and you get your candidate guide, we would answer questions at that moment when it's empty and plain. We'd be able to say, oh yeah, don't forget you got to do this, this, and this. So you do get guidance, and I hear Danny myself all the time saying, hey, don't forget you have to do this, this, and this. So getting help, yes, help, and a little bit of guidance with the candidate guide, but when you bring them back is when we can't participate. When you pick it up, we can answer any question you may have. Oh, do I have to fill this out? Yes, you do. When you bring them back is when we can't. That's the pre-check. Does
Right.
that make sense?
It does. And like I said, Secretary LaRose is subject to any orders by the court, just like we are. So if someone challenged that directive and the court reversed him, then, yahoo. But right now, we have to listen. He is the ultimate election official in Ohio, Frank LaRose is. He sent us a directive saying, this is what you must do. I might totally disagree with it, but he's sort of my boss. I gotta listen to what he says. And until someone tells me differently, that was what we took an oath to do. And so we have to do it. All right, any other comments?
I have one. You have two political parties in Mahoning County that have great knowledge on how to fill out these petitions and make sure they're done correctly. So I would advise anybody who wants to run for office that needs help to contact one or all, whichever one you want to, they'll help you. There's a lot of knowledge there, so.
All right, any other comments for the good of the order of public comments? We would now entertain a motion to set a diamond date of our next board meeting for the August special election audit on Monday, September 11th, at 9 a.m. in the boardroom of the Mahoning County Board of Elections. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Vice Chair Sandra Barger, seconded by Joyce Kilpesta. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, would the director call the roll, please?
Okay, we do have to draw the precincts?
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Okay.
I'm just following Annie, I'm just following you. Annie lets me paint by numbers, and if I don't paint exactly like these numbers, I have 2.5 board members that will tell me, you are not following the script. So, because you don't yell at me.
Half now.
No, you don't yell at me, you only yell at me half amount of
Half
times
the-
that Joyce and Sandra do.
Attorney Beatrice,
Yes.
Mr. Arndt,
Yes.
Ms. Kelpesta.
Yes.
Okay, now we want to select polling locations to audit for the September 11th, 2023 special election. And so everyone knows, what happens is, on election day, the computer sticks are brought into the office. And that night, you get what's called an unofficial result. The staff then reruns every ballot, every paper ballot through the machine, and we calculate provisionals and ballots that came in, and we say yay or nay. Then once we do all of that, we get an official result, which we did here today. After that official result, we take 5% of the precincts and we hand count them to check the computer chip, to check the official canvas. And it's arduous, but everyone should know that that process takes place, and it's done randomly. So in here is every precinct in Mahoney County, and the members are gonna pull it out, and the staff hopes it's a small precinct or a small polling location, but it is totally random, and we're gonna let the vice chair pull the first
How
one.
many people?
We'll do two each, will be over the 5% and good.
All right, so you wanna pull two?
Should be.
Sure,
Is that one or two you have?
I think it's one. Yeah, one. St. Patrick's Church,
Where is that?
Youngstown,
Okay.
and Berlin Center United Methodist.
All right, Mr. Arndt.
Oh, okay, good. Martin Luther Lutheran Church. And Spanish Evangelical.
All right, I'm not gonna pull two, but since Joyce yells at me all the time, I'm gonna let her pull two for me. So
No,
Joyce,
I'm not pulling your two. I refuse.
just pull four out.
I will pull two. What do you pull one?
All right, would you pull another one, please?
Boardman Library.
Sandra, would you pull?
And this is Springfield Fire Station number 1.
Oh, she got the fire station, I didn't put it.
No one got a hotel
Everything else
yet?
is usually at the hotel.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
do.
I get hotels. Poland Township Government Building.
Okay.
And the last one is Goshen Township Administrative Building. So what will happen is, we'll have counting teams, all those ballots will be brought from the safe, and we'll hand count all of those precincts and compare it to the official result. Okay? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's a motion made by Joyce Kilpesta to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Bob. You're gonna make us stay here all night? You had to be slow on the draw there, Sandra. All right, there's a motion made by member Joyce Kilpesta, seconded by member Bob Arndt. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would the director call the roll?
Ms. Barger,
Yes.
Attorney Beatrice.
Yes,
Mr. Arndt,
Yes.
Ms. Kelpesta.
Yes.
this meeting is adjourned.